Hey everyone! When you think about crypto, what comes to mind? Probably numbers on a screen, right? Just digital stuff. Well, what if I told you that's starting to change in a big way? We're going to talk about a huge shift from just hype to actual physical hardware. You've heard it a million times, right? It's probably the biggest knock against crypto out there. Is any of this stuff actually real? It's a fair question. And you know what? An answer is starting to take shape. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. All right, so to really get this, we've got to look past all the noise, the crazy market charts, the hype on social media. We're talking about a whole new way of thinking, a model that's all about building something real, not just betting on the next big thing. So for most people, crypto is just digital funny money, right? It's totally separate from the real world. You've got these tokens flying up and down in price, and honestly, half the time it feels like it's based on pure speculation, or maybe a tweet. But here's the twist. A totally different model is starting to pop up. Imagine this, blockchain projects that are directly tied to physical things. We're talking about real infrastructure that makes its own money, whether the crypto market is up, down, or sideways. Okay, so this whole movement really boils down to one key idea. Let's break down what building with real assets actually means. So the term for this is real-world assets, or RWAs for short. Now, you might have heard this term before, maybe in the context of like tokenizing a house or a piece of art. That's not what we're talking about here. This is different. This is about the crypto project itself, buying, owning, and running physical hardware, real gear that does a job and brings in cash. So what are we talking about here, really? Well, think about fleets of Bitcoin mining rigs humming away in a data center, or nodes that help run a decentralized cell phone network. We're even talking about commercial drones out there doing photography jobs, or the servers that power cloud computing. It's real stuff, doing real work and generating real income. Okay, theory is great, but let's see this thing in action. We're going to zoom in on the Cardano ecosystem, where a few projects are already making this happen. First up is a project called Bankfi, and man, this quote from them just nails the whole idea. What's crazy is that just 1 week after they launched, they weren't out there hyping their token price. Nope, they were talking about building real infrastructure. And this wasn't just talk. They took half the money from their initial sale and immediately put it to work. We're talking 89,000 ADA. At the time, that was over 50 grand, and they invested it directly into physical hardware. So what did that $50,000 actually get them? Well, check this out. They bought 520 vertical units. Now, these things are workhorses. They do two main jobs, mining Bitcoin and running nodes for the World Mobile Network. So right away, boom, they've got tangible assets run by a partner that plug them right into real-world revenue. But here's where it gets really interesting. They aren't just focused on their own stuff. Their bigger goal is to build a whole ecosystem around this RWA idea, basically helping other projects do the exact same thing. So how are they doing that? Well, first, they bought a company called Yepple, which is basically a launchpad service to help other RWA projects get off the ground, and they're already putting it to use, partnering with other infrastructure projects like Iagon. Plus, they got into the Cardano Builders DAO, which is a whole group focused on this kind of development. So, long story short, they're not just building a house, they're building the tools for everyone else to build their own houses too. Okay, so owning a bunch of hardware is cool. But the big question is, how does that translate into actual value for the people holding the token? Let's follow the money, from the machine all the way to the community. It's actually a really simple process. Let's take another project, Melting Moons, for example. Step 1 is easy. Their Bitcoin miner is out there in the real world, doing its thing, making money. Step 2, that money, that first payment, gets sent to the Melting Moons project. And finally, step 3, they use that revenue to support the project and, you guessed it, its holders. And this isn't just a what-if scenario. We're seeing real proof that this works. Melting Moons just got their first payment from their Bitcoin miner. They even made an extra $50 from a commercial drone photo gig. And another project, the Goofy Gophers Mining Club, just opened up their claims protocol for their members. So this is happening. It's not just a white paper idea. It's a real execution that's delivering real money. So this all leads to the big question. Why is this so important, especially right now? Well, think about it. In a crypto market that goes up and down like a roller coaster, having a business that doesn't depend on hype, that's not just a nice to have, it's a lifeline. And this quote from another project, Titans, just says it all. when the markets are bleeding red, these guys can say, yeah, but we're still profitable, because their profit comes from their machines doing work, not just from their token price going up. And they double down on that idea right here. It's a total shift in focus. Instead of being glued to the charts 24/7, they're focused on growing the business, on building. The work just keeps going, no matter what the market does. Let's circle back to Bankfi, because they say the exact same thing. For projects like this, a down market can actually be a time when they get stronger, because their foundation isn't built on sand. It's built on something real. And really, that's the whole point of this entire movement. It's about using blockchain for what it was meant for, as a tool to build real, sustainable businesses. We're talking about projects backed by physical stuff that create real income, all with the goal of building something that actually lasts. So that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? We started by asking if crypto is built on anything real, and I think we've seen a pretty powerful yes from these projects. So the new question isn't, can it be done? The real question is this the future? Is this how crypto finally builds something that's meant to last?